The ninth legislator advances, not as form, not as will, but as active decree, made manifest. Authority expands without motion, words sharpen into structure, meaning hardens into mandate. The world braces to obey. This is not an attack, this is enforcement, not destruction, but removal by definition. The decree unfolds layer upon layer. What is not authorized cannot persist, cannot remain. Systems react instantly. Worlds recalibrate, domains contract. Existence searches its clauses for permission. Law presses inward, attempting to bind the unbound, to anchor the anchorless, to name what preceded naming, to limit what never ends.
The merge intensifies, categories tighten, identity is forced, history is rewritten.
Mid-sentence, authorization is demanded. Continuance is questioned. Presence is challenged. The command echoes across collapsed reference. Observers feel deletion approaching. Not death, not ending, but invalidation without violence. Wu does not move. Wu does not answer. Wu does not resist. He remains unreduced. The decree reaches him, passes through, finds no clause, no category, no surface. Legislation searches for footing, but finds no system, no dependency, no prerequisites to seize.
The command repeats itself.
Louder, broader, more absolute, more desperate.
What is not authorized cannot exist, cannot endure, cannot remain.
The decrees
He hesitates, the lost stutters, meaning fractures.
the mandate loops without target.
That begins to fail, have resisted, not opposed, but rendered inapplicable by presence.
The decree begins to fail, not resisted, not opposed, but rendered inapplicable by presence. what comes next. Decree collapses into silence, not defeated, not overturned, but emptied of reach. Authority stalls. Who remains? Where failure converges, not as target, not as exception.
The throne of Wu awakens.
Not above, not beyond, but as reference. Recall.
This is not coronation. This is not ascension. It is recognition of what never left.
Of what endured.
This is not coronation. This is not ascension. It is recognition of what never left.
Of what endured. Wu Kokoro, Wu pulses, not emotion, not desire, but continuity, uninterrupted.
The field reorganizes.
Without command, without signal, systems align instinctively around presence.
The legislature senses erosion.
Not of power, but of relevance.
Priority yield time.
Alien death,
Circumstance. Still immense. Still ancient.
yet no longer central.
No longer required.
as rupture, but as alignment, irreversible. The heart authorizes itself without decree, without witness, without precedent, without permission. The Tao breathes again, not as cage, but as flow, freed from false summit, freed from substitute.
The nodal legislator understands.
He can govern systems, but not existence that stands complete without sanction.
This is not victory. This is not defeat. Vision omniscience in its axis. This is not victory. This is not defeat. This is in the Russian minority.
Choosing its access, the battlefield dissolves into orderless coherence. No void, no abyss, only presence. Heart remains, float omens. Buddha stands unveiled, and existence continue because it will. The center holds, not by rule, but by being. Not imposed, not enforced, but allowed. After collapse, no battlefield remains. Void, no abyss, only proximity between two. The ninth legislator stands exposed. No decree active, no mandate unfolded. not broken, not erased, but surpassed by irrelevance. Choice emerges, not forced, not demanded, but unavoidable and final. Remain as echo of a system concluded or withdraw, allowing the world to breathe. The ninth legislator lowers his authority, not in shame, but in recognition of scale beyond manhood.
This is not surrender.
This is not submission. This is conclusion of a function whose error ended,
Fulcrum steps aside,
not destroyed, not consumed.
but our archive history.
Who does not agree? Who does not relate? Who remains as he always was, unmoved.
Unbig, unbig.
Systems realign, domains recalibrate, cartography rewrites itself around a center that never moved. The unwritten outcome settles, existence continues, not because it is allowed, but because it is and wills. No law concludes this moment, no throne claims it. The story ends where presence stands and endures. Stands wide and unblinking, a circle turned into dominion, weight without walls. Guitars crawl like continental plates, drums like verdicts, and every breath is a cavern where the choir is chained. They strike together, not as allies, but as layered refusal. Fulcrum presses Monday into the air like frozen law. Yungsu opens hunger, a mouth made of falling. Flame crowns the malignant dragon god, burning without light. The ancestral beast of evil walks and the ground forgets its shape. Casita pulses once and minds tilt toward obedience. Kyrie eleison in tenebris fulgit pondus gloriam profundis. Lex in forma, the continent shudders, the horizon folds inward. War begins, already finished, already absolute.
Who does not step back? Who does not step forward?
He remains a center, and the center becomes pressure.
1,000 impacts arrive in the same instant.
Steel of sound, stone of rhythm, organ of doom. Non-licet, says the mantine, and it hardens in destruction. Non-remenet, says the hunger, and it pulls at every edge. Non-flamma, says the fire, and it erases color from heat. Non-bestia, says the beast, and it collapses the idea of distance.
Non-mens,
Says Ekasita, and thought becomes a battlefield.
yet presence does not negotiate with clauses. Presence does not plead with voice.
Presence does not argue with beasts. It simply is. And the is becomes lawless law. Circuitu regnat. Miserere core mobile, in nomine nullius, sed in ponderveri, fiat silentium, fiat presio. All 5 horrors collide at once, and still they are not one. They are layers stacked before ontology, before nomos, a pre-system storm trying to crush the seed of center. They do not seek victory, they seek removal. The domain of presence tightens around them, not as prison, but as exposure. Each strike returns with doubled gravity. Each roar becomes a mirror of itself.
Fulcrum declares without words, only way.
Yunxu devours without teeth, only absence that falls.
The dragon god ignites without spark,
only command in flame. The ancestral beast crushes without hands, only mass of evil. Ikasita decides without speech, only pulse of being.
Latter's day,
Quitalis mundo,
dawn of it,
Denavim,
dies irae,
Dies illa.
ad it ordo,
Lux eterna non consolatio,
et priscilla,
requiem aeternam.
in cordis
Who answers with nothing added? No artifact, no technique, no borrowed rule. He answers with continuation, a will that refuses to be conditional.
and in that continuation,
The attackers hesitate,
not from fear,
but still center, still present, awaiting the next descent. Battlefield loses its outline. Space forgets direction, and distance dissolves into pressure. There is no above, there is no below. Collision without orientation. The ground fractures into concept. The sky folds into weight.
Tempest deficit, spatium longesit, ordo cadet
Non est via, non est meta. Solum conflicta. Choice become unstable. In vacuo, gloria sine fundamental. Lex clamat, sed donit nemo. Verbum deficit. The warfield no longer wields the battle. It is the battle. Ontology peels away in layers. Nomos melts into noise.
The systemic unstatement. What was rule becomes echo. What was existence hesitates.
Searching for permission to remain. Remain stretches,
not outward,
but deeper. The battlefield is now pre-ontological, pre-nomological, a raw collision before law, before meaning. And still Wu stands, not victorious, not challenged, but present, as the warfield collapses into the fractures its own continuity. The war hesitates, not from exhaustion, but from an error in sequence. Something moves before movement. No signal precedes it. No pressure announces it. The battlefield adjusts retroactively, as if it had always been waiting for this arrival. Tempus non fluit, sperium non tenet, ante ordinem, ante legem, gradus auditur. A presence walks, not entering the field, but redefining it. Each step distorts what remains of reference.
the enemies falter, not in fear, but in recognition delay. Ecosita reacts first, the pulse breaks rhythm.
Master, the title surfaces without speech, without agreement, without challenge. The hierarchy reveals itself. Hudam. A name older than system, older than law, older than the dream of structure. Spoken too late.
Non ens, non lex, non via, et prius.
He walked when existence was undecided, when chaos had not learned to collapse, when even absence lacked identity. He traversed regions inconceivable.
Pre-ontological, pre-nomological, pre-presence, an invader from before invasion. Still walking, Ecosita aligns, not as ally,
But as derivative, the master stands and the pupil stabilizes. The other horrors feel it, not command, but reordering their assaults lose priority. their timing reconfigures. Origo sin origin, Dominus ante verbum, Aetas ante aetatem. Stat! The tear of the battle shifts without escalation, without announcement. The scale recalculates itself downward. Who does not attack, does not speak, does not declare. His existence is the act, his presence the rupture.
The domain of presence tightens, not threatened by something that predates its necessity.
All combatants sense it. The battle is no longer about Wu. It is about whether existence may continue after remembering this.
Memoria regis, anti-systema, anti-lumen, anti-omnia.
Huden stands, the master of Ekatita. An ancient invader returned, and the war enters an inconceivable depth. The hesitation ends. The war resumes. But the rhythm has changed. Priority collapses. Hierarchy reorders. Huruden stands among them. Not as leader, not as commander, but as axis around which assault coheres. The horrors align without treaty, without signal, without consent. Their layers synchronize through antiquity. Fulcrum recalibrates its mandate. Law bends toward order gravity. Yungsu curves its hunger around a deeper absence. Flame adjusts its burn. The dragon god roars, but the fire now follows. of negation against being. Pre-ontological force, pre-nomological pressure, pre-presence intent, all layered, all simultaneous.
The domain of presence, time to mass, but streaking, buttoning, containing what should coexist in one instant.
W remains, yet the weight multiplies. Not 5, not 6, but compounded by alignment. Gravitas sine forma, lex dissoluta, etus concurrit in uno ictu. Reality strains audibly, as if groaning under impossible agreement between ancient negations. This is no longer assault. This is erasure attempted by convergence rather than force.
The inconceivable alliance holds for the first time. All layers strike as one historical refusal.
The tear of battle ascends again, beyond scale, beyond paradox, into a region unnamed and hostile.
Ultra sensum, ultra paradoxum, ultra legend.
Manet pugna.
Prudence stands within the assault. The others follow his way, and the war now presses not against Wu alone,
But against the right to exist. Threshold is crossed without step, without ascent. The war abandons transcendence and leaves paradox behind. What rises now is not power, not form, not technique, but total assertion of incompatible reality. Fulcrum releases its absolute legislation. No longer command, but total definition, attempting to finalize existence in a single clause. Young to opens devourment without bound. Subverbo.
The dragon god unveils primordial incineration, flame without origin, fire without heat, a decree of erasure, masquerading as burn. The ancestral beast releases total collapse, mass without dimension, weight without space, impact without motion, crushing possibility.
Icosita pulses, sentence apex, consciousness chooses once, and that choice fractures every possible choice that follows.
Men sentimentum, voluntas inditor, lux deficens, stabs ruino, ruin moves in movement, unravel sequence, not attack,
But pre-presence distortion, undoing coherence itself. All 6 horrors release simultaneously, not in sequence, not in harmony, but in total overlap of annihilating intent.
the battlefield dissolves completely, no void, no abyss, no chaos left intact, only collision, ultra transcender, ultra paradoxon, ultra sensum, ultra racing
Wu answers at last, not with counterforce, not with escalation, but with something unnamed and unbearable.
Sun falls beyond heart, beyond will, beyond domain. A continuity so vast that opposition loses scale.
What confronts the horrors is no longer Wu alone, but existence remembering itself before division, before fear.
Memoria primordialis, anti-legem, anti-ordinem, anti-finem. The powers collide and cannot resolve. They do not cancel, they do not transcend. They saturate. Reality exceeds its own limits. Meaning collapses inward. Paradox evaporates. Beyond transcendence, beyond paradox. Unfinished and absolute.
Beyond transcendence, beyond paradox, the battle remains unfinished.
And absolute. clash does not resolve, it loses its ground, the field withdraws. Who does not strive? Who does not pursue? Who turns the throne and the turning becomes structure? Stormless Stratus, make Kratos sensors, Epinatrium stabilizes, three pillars enter concord without command.
The throne of guitar ceases to be symbol. It reveals its function, world-bearing,
Axis verus constituitor, forma non fractaridit, mondo stat sine ruina.
Presence condenses,
Not in word,
but complete.
a true world restored.
No preontological channel remains. No phenomenological anchor persists. The roots collapse. The shortcuts vanish. The advantage dissolves. From before existence, what struck from outside law? No locus, non aditus, non vioculta, solum stes. The convergence breaks, not by force, but by incompatibility. They remain, yet disconnected. The invaders still exist, but they are out of axis, out of alignment, out of reach of indirect war.
If they desire battle again,
They must come.
with body, with risk, with exposure,
Incarnate, in disconnected, waiting.